Okay, I thought I'd do a quick care video for the ball python. Ball pythons are one of the most popular snakes kept in captivity worldwide, and I find mine very rewarding. The best piece of advice I can give you is to get your enclosure set up completely before you bring your new ball python home. This will give him a chance to get used to his new environment as easily and quickly as possible without you then having to change things around or adjust temperatures because it'll already be done. People say to let them settle in for a couple of days before you start handling them. I start handling all my reptiles pretty much straight away. I just keep the handling sessions short, and I increase the time that they're out and how often they come out as the days go by. Here he is, just having a little swim in the bath. I thought it'd probably be the easiest place for me to put him where he can stay in view while I'm doing the care video. Snakes are an animal that you get out of them what you give, so the more time you spend with your snake, the better snake you'll have. The enclosure should not exceed 1.5 times the length of your ball python's body. I've found with my ball python and other ball pythons that I've worked with that they really don't do very well with large spaces. But they should not be made to live in an enclosure less than 2/3 the length of their body either. I like to have a slightly bigger enclosure so that it's not cluttered once I've put all their stuff in there. There are many people who believe there's no maximum size to a ball python's enclosure as long as they've got plenty of hides and ample foliage. Ball pythons are known to be shy animals and they seek comfort in small and dark places. Heat. Ball pythons are cold-blooded. They rely on external heat that you, as their new owner, need to provide for them. The snake will self-regulate its body temperature from moving from one side of the enclosure to the other. This is why you have a hot side and a cold side. There are many different methods to provide your snake with heat, the most common being a heat mat. When using a heat mat, it's really important that the heat mat doesn't cover over half the enclosure's floor space. The snake will need half of the floor space of the enclosure to have no heat so that when it needs to cool down, it can get away from its heat source. Another method is the bulb, heat bulb, basking bulb. If you want to use this method, it's extremely important to cage your bulb. If a snake touches the bulb, which it will because they're drawn to the heat, the scales will stick to the bulb and they will get badly burnt. I've also heard of snakes wrapping bulbs and crushing them, causing them to get cut and burnt. So just stick a guard or a cage over your heat bulb and protect your snake if you're using that method. It's also advised to use a thermostat. Thermostat will make sure that your heat bulb's not going to overheat. If you do use a heat bulb, make sure you use a red bulb at night time because the snake can't see the red bulb. Instead of changing the bulb from a normal one to a red one, you could just use a red one day and night if preferred. The actual temperatures you will need to try and achieve on the hot side should be between 87 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and the cool side should be between 77 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll need a thermometer to properly measure the temperatures, preferably having one on each side. I use a temp gun instead of having one on each side because I can move it around and get all the different heat temperatures from all the different areas within the tanks. If your enclosure is too small, you will have trouble achieving the right heat gradients. You won't be able to get the cold side properly cold because it's too close to the heat source and vice versa. So, just don't try and stick them in a tiny little drawer. Ball pythons don't have any special humidity requirements. Try and keep it between 50 and 60%. This is ideal for them. Misting isn't necessary with ball pythons unless they're in a mesh topped viv. An easy way to increase or decrease the humidity is the size of the water bowl provided. A larger water bowl closer to the heat source will create more humidity, and a smaller water bowl away from the heat source will decrease the humidity. Almost all types of substrates work fine with ball pythons. The more porous the substrate, like mulch, the more it will retain moisture and help raise the humidity. The most popular substrate that reptile keepers use is aspen bedding. This allows them to burrow easily and is easily spot cleaned also. Please do not use cedar, as it is not suitable for reptiles and is toxic to all snakes. It kind of looks a bit like the aspen bedding. I think they sell it for hamsters and things like that, so just be careful that you're not giving your snake anything toxic. Ball pythons seek out dark and secure places to spend the majority of their time. Providing them with hides is critical to your snake's sense of security. If your snake doesn't feel secure, it will stress and give you feeding problems. Provide at least one hide at the hot side and one hide at the cold side. If the enclosure is big, then provide hides in the middle and as necessary. Some people also provide a humid box for their ball pythons so that they've got somewhere moist to go if they feel they need more humidity. Hides can be made from pretty much anything, from butter tubs with arches cut out to cardboard boxes and special caves brought from the reptile shops for reptiles. Ball pythons don't have any specific light requirements. They do not need UV and they will thrive with the natural photocycle of your house. Fresh water should be provided for your ball python. I make sure that the bowl is big enough for the ball python to fit in completely so that they can soak if they choose to. I change the water of all my reptiles daily, but at the snake sanctuary I work with, their water is changed every 4 to 6 days and them snakes are fine. If you don't have a massive collection and can change daily, then do so. This will stop bacteria build-up and it's just that bit nicer for your snake. You will know when your snake's about to shed, and you'll be able to recognise with 3 signs. Firstly, the stomach of your ball python will turn pinkish in colour. The skin and pattern and colour will dull significantly, and then their eyes will become milky and appear opaque. The last stage is called being in blue. Eventually your snake's eyes will clear up and you can expect your snake to shed within 36 hours from then. Your snake will benefit from a lukewarm soak for about 20 minutes a day while in blue. This will minimise the chance of them getting stuck shed or retained eye caps, and just help them shed fully and easily. Ball pythons should be fed rats as they're more nutritious than mice. They should be fed on a weekly basis and require one appropriately sized rat once a week. The size of the rat should be only slightly bigger than the largest part of the snake's body. Never ever feed live prey to your snake. It is not natural, as your snake will be living in captivity. In captivity, the rat is cornered and can turn and inflict major injury on your snake. In the wild, the rat is either caught and constricted, or it runs away and has a lucky escape. Never in the wild is a rat cornered made to fight for its life in a tub. So just stick to frozen food. It's easier to get hold of, it's easier to store, it can't cause any risk to your snake, it can't transfer any parasites. I'll do a separate feeding video on how to get picky ball pythons to eat if requested. Some of the tips that I've learned, some of the tricks that have been successful over the years with me. So if you'd like a separate feeding video, just comment. Handling it's important not to handle your snake for at least 24 hours after they have eaten. This will reduce the chance of regurgitation and allow your ball python the time to start to digest its meal with the heat source. Some snakes don't like being held when they're in shed. Mine are out all the time, so they don't really mind. Other than that, just make sure you support your snake's body and make sure that they can't fall. I get my snakes out as often as I can, so the more you handle them, the better the snake you'll own. And cleaning, make sure you spot clean their tank daily. This goes for any reptile. Check all around the substrates and remove any poop or urates immediately. Do a thorough clean once a month, where you wash out all the hides, the plants, the walls and floor of the enclosure, and change all the substrate for fresh once a month. I think I've covered just about everything. If there's anything that I haven't covered, or any subject that you'd like me to go in further depth, then just leave a comment and let me know. Alright guys, this is my first care video. I'm far from an expert, so if there's anything I've left out, comment on that too. Cheers, bye.